So joining us now to talk more about this is Dr. Jayne Morgan, Executive Director of Health and Community Education at Piedmont Healthcare, Inc., and Adjunct Associate Professor of Medicine at the Morehouse School of Medicine. Doctor, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us a little bit more about how people become infected with this flesh-eating bacteria?
Absolutely. This is called Vibrio vulnificus. And actually, in Latin, vulnificus actually means to wound. And so the way that you are infected is if you have a cut or even a scrape or even a bruise that has abraded the skin and you are in this water, generally warm water, you can be infected. We see a proliferation of Vibrio vulnificus as our water has warmed up, as our environment has warmed. The warmer the water, the more able is the bacteria to multiply. And so we see these cases increase, and we also see them gradually going up the East Coast, where generally there are colder waters, and we haven't really seen them commonly before. So remember, it's not just wounds and cuts and scrapes that when you should avoid this water, this brackish water where seawater maybe meets the lake or the river or warm waters in general. But remember, if you have recent tattoos, if you have recent body piercings, all of this counts as a wound and you should avoid warm waters.
So if you don't have any of those things, any open wounds, you haven't recently had a tattoo, all of those, would you recommend staying away from the water? How can a person prevent an infection if they have a wound as well, if at all?
So if you have a wound, the best way to avoid the infection is to stay out of the water. And remember, we can also see it in swimming pools, those types of waters that are generally contained, that have not been well maintained. If you need to go into the water, cover your wound with a waterproof seal. That's actually the best way. And if in fact you have a wound and you were in the water anyway, make sure that you clean and rinse and disinfect it very, very thoroughly once you exit that water, and be on the lookout for any symptoms like fever, nausea, vomiting, stomach aches. Make certain you seek care quickly if that develops.
Absolutely. And would the recommendation be just head to the ER immediately?
I would head to the emergency room. This is an emergency, and we are seeing not just this bacteria, but other types of bacteria also proliferate in these waters that not only have warmed up, but during this heat wave are staying warm for a long period of time. So the bacteria is really able to multiply again and again and again. And so we must be vigilant, make certain you err on the side of safety, and head to the emergency room. Better safe than sorry. And absolutely, still, let's have fun out there this summer. But if you've got a wound, an open cut, an open sore, a tattoo, or a body piercing that counts, stay out of the water.
All right. Excellent advice. And certainly those images have us at attention. Thank you so much, Doctor. So we wanted to get your take on one more story as well. Concerns mounting in Maryland after a case of malaria. It is the first locally acquired case in the state in 40 years. So officials say the person was hospitalized and is now recovering at home. Cases have also been reported this summer in Florida and Texas, as you know. So we have now seen locally acquired cases in Maryland, Florida, Texas. Is this cause for concern, Doctor?
The CDC actually does list it as cause for concern, and actually list it as a public health emergency if we have locally acquired malaria cases that really was considered to have been completely removed from the United States all the way back in 1951. We see about 2,000 cases per year here in the U.S., but from travelers or people who have been exposed to international travelers. So if we are having local cases, we have to be concerned about our mosquito population. The female mosquito, the Anopheles mosquito, the female mosquito actually takes these blood meals by biting people, and she is the one that transfers this P. vivax, Plasmodium vivax, this particular parasite, from one person to the next that causes malaria. But we generally do not see it here in the United States. So all of these cases are going to have to be very carefully examined to find out, why are we having innate cases here in the US that is a cause for concern, and you can believe the CDC is taking a really close look at this.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.